Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the As Above, So Below show. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm here with Ashala Yardley. How's it going, Ashala?
Hi, Meg. It's going pretty well. I feel like I've been a little bit on edge and antsy the last few days. How are you doing?
I'm good. I think it's a pretty happy day. I've been feeling that antsiness too a little bit. We'll get into astrologically why that might be going on, but I was so happy today to see your daughter Crystal with JC on her first Beyond Karma show. How amazing is that?
Isn't that so great? And I actually haven't watched it yet. I asked her, I said, do you want me to watch or do you want me to wait till later? And she said, I want you to watch, but I turned out I had a session during the same time period. So
Oh
I
my
have to go on after and watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got to see a few minutes of it, but you and Crystal just have a beautiful energy. I love both of you guys, and I'm so excited for her to be sharing her gifts through this new show. And she also has tarot readings, right? Available on the Academy now as well.
That's correct. Yep.
Right, not
She's
the
doing
Academy, the consultations page.
on the
Sorry.
consultation page. Yep. Yep. So she's there doing 1 hour sessions. And they're complementary to what I do. We are different readers. We do things differently. She's super skilled at what she does. And, like I've been turning to her for guidance for a really long time. And she just has such a great way of helping everybody feel at ease and safe and like listening but guiding at the same time. Like she's got that real subtle. I'm a lot more like, hey, all this information for you, I'm going to download everything all at once. She's got a lot of really great interactive gifts that she uses with people when she's doing sessions. So yeah, I think check it out.
That's awesome. I love that. And also, Ashala, you and I both have readings available on the consultations page. You guys can go check that out at the link below. And this week, Carla at Ascension Organize has a double your power sale. Spend $100 or more and get any beginner series pyramid for free out of Organite. So that's pretty cool. Do you have any of Carla's Organite pyramids yet, Ashala?
Don't, but you know which one I really would love is that yellow one that's at the front there.
Yeah.
When it's talking about power, and like to me that feels so like solar plexus power centered. And yeah, just like I saw the picture of it and I was like, I want that. That is the one that has my name on it.
Yeah.
You, Meg.
I love that. Yeah, I have a couple of them and I just love the energy of Organite. I don't really understand how technically, I'm not a super scientific person, how technically it works with the combination of the orgone. Is it the orgone or the resin with the metals? But I can definitely feel the energy for sure.
Yes.
So love
Yeah.
them so much. And yeah, so we're going to be getting into in today's show, as we always do, the astrology mixed in with the tarot. Jerry in the comments is saying, I'm very antsy too. Yes, Kristen was amazing. Yes, congratulations, Crystal, on the new show. So this antsiness, it's okay. This is really interesting because I did my Beyond Astro weekly forecast on Sunday, and I was sharing about how in the astrology for this week, we have multiple exact aspects with Venus, which is very, very rare. We have Venus, trine, Neptune, and Saturn, sextile Uranus, all opposite Pluto. This is all actually exact today. Several Venus aspects exact today, which are mostly positive, except for the Venus opposite Pluto can be a little bit more challenging, bringing up some shadow work, things that need to be brought up in relationships. But I have been feeling this antsy feeling. Maybe it is the Venus opposite Pluto. Maybe it is just something else in general, Ashala. Have you been feeling that at all as well? Well, you just shared that right now, but how long have you been feeling that? And are you feeling anything else notable in the energies as we're starting this week?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, this antsiness has been over the last, I want to say 4 or 5 days. And because I know the last couple of times we've talked, I've been feeling pretty positive, right? I've been like, and it started sort of coming in around 4 or 5 days ago. And then when I did my forecast on Saturday, I saw that kind of, and it wasn't bad. but it was that almost like that subtle irritant, like when you have a,
Mm.
thorn in your shoe or something. It's just like that, like something that you just can't put your finger on, but it's that agitation feeling. And I was really happy that I saw that, because it helped make sense for me of how I was feeling, and that it wasn't just something going on with me. And I attribute it, when you talk about all this Venus, positive Venus energy, I attribute this antsy feeling to like the heart opening, and anything that's blocking it, anything that is like stuck, is going to feel antsy, right? So like when we shine a light on something, we see what's there. And so I wonder about that.
That is so interesting, Ashala, because I literally said almost the exact same thing on Sunday in my Beyond Astro. I was pulling some tarot cards at the end of doing the astrology forecast, and I was saying that this is going to feel either like a really blissful week with this Venus aspects, or it might feel a little bit like I pulled the Three of Swords actually as one of the cards. It might feel a little bit, and it's making me emotional thinking about it, like there could be a heartbreak, there could be some painful realizations about things, or just antsy energies that we're processing, not necessarily, as you said, because something bad is happening, but as there's lighter energies, things are bubbling up to the surface that we're releasing. Does that make sense how I explain that?
It really does. And like I said, that's one of the reasons I love doing these forecasts, is to have a perspective when I'm going through something and sensing something, and I'm like, I don't know what to attribute this to. And to have that perspective to go, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Bjorny says, antsiness gets going into action. It gives me tickly energy. Haha. I love that. Art for Life says, what is the psychology behind those red glasses each time you do the as above, so below show? Well, we're doing the show. For me, it's 7 p.m. Eastern time. Ashal, it's early evening for you. And Ashal and I, we work a lot on the computer. So when I'm wearing these glasses, you guys, it's usually at night when, blue light glasses, for those of you who don't know, are really good for, especially when you get closer to bedtime, to wear if you're on computer screens or the TV, so that it doesn't mess up your biorhythms. Is that the right term? Before going to bed. So that's why I have them on in the show.
And I have, my glasses are blue light blocker too, but they're the clear ones, which aren't as strong. So once you put the orange ones on, those are the real heavy duty ones for, as you say, winding down as it gets closer to bedtime for you.
Exactly, for sure. G Cut Birth says, I've been positive 1 minute, then anxiety the next. It takes a bit longer for me to crawl out of the hole than usual. I have to remind myself that I could be feeling very smart. Collective anxiousness. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, Ashala, but this is something, maybe we've mentioned this before, but I think this is something a lot of people in our community pick up on, the collective consciousness and unconsciousness. Do you feel like, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely. If you guys are feeling like anxiety or sad or weird out of nowhere, of course, like you were saying, Ashala, it could be something of our own personally that might be coming up to the surface, or we might be picking up on, like G Cut Birth is saying, actually the collective conscious or unconsciousness. So that's why it's so good. I think it's really great, at least personally, to get in the habit of tuning in to my body and asking myself, maybe doing like some muscle testing, or what's it called, Ashala, when you like douse your body?
Yeah, I just call it body dowsing, where
Body
you
douse.
move forward or forward and back. Yeah.
Yeah, if I have something like that. Oh, Glennis. Sorry, your name is Glennis. I like to body douse whenever I have a random weird feeling like that. Okay, is this mine or is this everybody else's stuff going on? Can we ask the cards, Ashala, what's going on in the collective consciousness right now? What's the collective energy out there?
Let's do that. Pull the cards up. Yes. Okay. How's my sound, by the way, everybody? It's been a little bit funky lately too.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, good. Let me know on the comments if it's quiet or loud. Okay, so collective consciousness is starting off, we are looking like, well, this is a leap of faith, this card, right? Like the Fool is about, we have to let go. We have to take that step, even though there's a lot of unknowns. We're feeling, the trust necessary to expand. And it's funny because the Fool is literally stepping forward. We were just talking about body dowsing, leaning forward, leaning back. And the Fool is like leaning forward, going into the future, trusting, look at this. That makes a lot of sense. So we've taken a leap of faith, and now we are in the great change, the time of great change. And we are in it. Janine has talked about this with this card a lot, and I always see this, that it's irreversible change. It's the kind of change where once you're partway through the transition, you're not going to be able to turn around and go back the other way. Right. So we are in the transition time. We are in the great awakening time. Sometimes that is liberating, and sometimes it's very anxiety producing. And that can, as someone was mentioning, it can literally change from moment to moment. One moment you're feeling like, wow, I see all the potential, the world is looking amazing. And the next moment it's like, oh my gosh, it's so scary and I don't know what's happening. And then the last one is, look at this, the collective consciousness. This is the High Priestess, a lot about our relationship to collective consciousness, our own consciousness, our higher self and source, and so on. And so 3 major arcana, by the way, right? That's not a small thing. 3 major arcana out of only 22 in the deck. So I pulled 3 of them for right now where our consciousness is at. So we've taken a leap of faith. We're in a great big change. And for better or worse, we're feeling everything. Yeah.
Wow. Ashala, that is freaking mind-blowing. I don't know. When we've done a show together, have you ever pulled 3 major arcanas ever? When we've done like a collective reading? I don't think so.
I don't think I have. Yeah, no, I don't think I have. So that's interesting.
Wow. That is so powerful. And the Fool, like such a different energy than the Death and the High Priestess.
I know. And it's interesting because the Fool is the very beginning of the journey of the 78 cards. I like to see them like our life, our passage, our rites of passage as we go through life, especially the 22 major arcana. They are like, each of them represent a phase of our evolution. And the Fool starts it all off by literally saying, I'm here, come what may. I'm jumping into this human experience and going for it, trusting what comes. And I love about the Fool, that he's carrying this bag on his stick there that is rumored to carry all the tools of the tarot. So the swords, the wands, the cups, the pentacles, like one of each. Those are the tools that the magician puts out on his table, which is the very next card in line from this. But the Fool he's got the tools, but he doesn't maybe know how to use them yet. So that to me also feels like we've taken this leap, especially our community, going into an unknown future, because we're aware of how much is going on under the surface that a lot of people are not aware of. But we don't necessarily know what tools are going to be required to make this great change. Apparently we have them with us, but we're not fully aware of that yet. So I think that's going to be a really big part of our healing and our growth in these coming years, is really developing our tools, be it healing tools, divination tools, things like astrology, prediction tools, things where you can start to be sort of master your own journey and not be dictated as much to by, you know, collective consensus and programming and so on.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Ashala, thank you for that. That is so powerful. And I feel like might tie in, speaking of the collective conscious, unconscious, to our big aspect that we have happening this week in the astrology, which is very, very rare. Uranus exactly sextile Neptune. This is going to be exact on Thursday, August 28th at exactly 8:14 p.m. Eastern Time. And this does not happen very often when we have exact aspects with the outer planets, whether they're conjunctions, the positive other aspects, the adverse aspects. They don't happen often because the outer planets move very, very slowly. Interesting. I just looked this up right now. The last time we had Uranus sextile Neptune was 1968.
Wow.
Exactly. Isn't that crazy? May 12th, 1968, with Uranus at 25 degrees of Virgo. Look at that, conjunct Pluto in a sextile to Neptune, 25 degrees of Scorpio. That's pretty freaking intense, with the moon in Scorpio as well. And Ashel, I was just looking at, oops, where did my thingy go? Here it is. Events that happened in 1968. Does anybody know offhand events that happened in 1968? Because there was very big world events that happened in that year. The assassination of Robert F. Kennedy, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. We had, look at this, Summer Olympics in Mexico City. What was the other thing? U.S. public opinion shifts on the Vietnam War. Let me know, you guys, if anybody. Oh, Bjorny says 1968 was a great year. Amazing music, a lot of rock and roll, innovative music. Uranus, rock and roll, innovation, sextile Neptune, music. Bjorny says we were planning Woodstock. Was Woodstock?
It was in 1969, I think, was Woodstock. Yeah.
That was Woodstock. Let me just ask, one second, you guys. This is where AI can actually be helpful for me as an astrologer, because I can just go here and say, what were the biggest world events in 1968? And I'm bringing this up, you guys, because there's cycles with all the astrological transits. So it's good to, being an astrologer is also like being a historian. The Vietnam War, worldwide protests, that's Uranus.
Worldwide protests. That's interesting.
Isn't that crazy? 2 major assassinations.
Wow.
And if you look at that last time it happened, Uranus, with Uranus sextile Neptune, there was a death influence actually over both Uranus and Neptune, because Uranus was conjunct Pluto, death. Neptune was in Scorpio, death, conjunct the moon in Scorpio. This one is a lot lighter that we have on Thursday. It's a Uranus in Gemini, sextile Neptune in Aries. Now, Neptune is conjunct Saturn almost exact, so that can be, there is positives and adversity to that. Could we do a poll, Ashala, on, is there going to be some sort of major assassination? I know that's a very dark question for me to ask, but I mean, that did happen the last time we had this aspect.
Yeah. So one of the ways I look at when I explore questions that are negative is I say, you know, I don't want to say absolutes ever. I don't believe in looking at absolutes, but I just want to look at likelihood in terms of, you know, where are we at in likelihood?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean it will happen, but what's the likelihood of that happening?
I like that's a way better way of phrasing it.
Yeah, it is a really better way because there's always change, right? Right up to the moment of something.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing a story about that we have several times in our life that we can exit and that we get right up until the moment. In fact, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people have NDEs and come back, because we literally have until the moment we cross finally and don't come back to say, oh, actually, I think I'm coming back. I don't think I'm going to go yet. Like, so right up into the moment of an event, it can change
Mhm.
because we're all co-creating a shared experience with this, right? So
Right.
in terms of likelihood, well, for the starters, I like what you said about this is a different energy. It's a lighter energy. I want to say it feels like a more developed or advanced energy that we're in now. Um, okay, so, interesting. It's like the assassination of an old system, is what I'm hearing. So it's not as much a physical assassination as it is oh yeah, like this, the likelihood of a physical assassination, I would say, is very, very low. But it looks like we are the transformation into a new system. It's almost like with these three cards, it definitely feels like it's related to the monetary system and that's where the change will start. It'll be like when they say follow the money, right? It'll literally be like the money system will be the first thing that we'll start to see like transformation in a good positive way. And it'll be like we're killing off that old sick system. But whether it has to come through in a physical death of an individual this time, I'm doubting that. It feels like it's already shifted.
Wow, I love that. That's very good news and makes sense even. Do you want to pull any extra cards on? Is there anything else we need to know? Overall themes about this very special Uranus sextile Neptune? I mean, I'll share some other things it has to do with, but oh wow.
Wow. Okay. Oh, goodness. How long is this going on? I'm curious about it. Like
Well,
when does it finish?
we're actually in the influence of it for the whole next year, but it's exact on Thursday. And I think there's another exact date. Let me double check, you guys. I think there's another one because
Yeah,
they're going to do retrograde.
uh,
Yeah, also November 20th, 2025. Wow, there's 3 exact dates. There's
okay.
4. Wait, what the heck?
So, I mean, 3 exact dates makes and each one is a little better than the last is what I'm getting. So, you know, we've got yeah, isn't it? It's a great group of cards here. We've got, I've often see this star card because I think of, the Star Spangled Banner or whatever. Anyway, I often see this as being related to the US actually.
Mhm.
And the feeling that the US is going to be leading a shift. So when you were saying, the last time this was about systems breaking down and um, yeah, like describe to me again the processes that go along with this particular
Yeah,
transit.
for sure. Yeah, so okay, so it's a positive aspect. Now, the last time we had it in 1968, there was very heavy influences, even though it was a positive aspect. So there was both. There was very positive events that came from it, like amazing music and rock and roll and innovation and people waking up. And there was a very big spiritual awakening and people taking back their power. Yeah, the hippie movement. But
Mhm.
also the hippie movement, and no disrespect to the hippie movement, but it kind of faded away. Like it's not something that stuck. It had an influence, right? And some of you guys may disagree with me. This is just my personal interpretation. And I love hippies, by the way, but it was there, it was intense, and then it kind of faded away. And then we went into the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and then the harmonic convergence and kind of the renaissance of the new age, if you will, and, a new kind of hippie movement, if you will, right? But it feels like this Uranus sextile Neptune, it's bringing in an energy that's here to stay. It's bringing in a spiritual Neptune revolution, Uranus, that is here to stay, that can last into the long term.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with Neptune conjunct Saturn, it's like durability and long lasting. And in positive aspect to Pluto, I mean, that's the planet of power, right? So it brings major spiritual activation. You guys are going to notice the dates that this is exact. So forgive me, you guys, because there's actually 4 exact dates over the next 2 years. And let me bring this up. Let me just tell you guys on my astrology program, because I like to give all the exact dates. So we've got last time was May 12th, 1968. Thursday, August 28th, 2025. November 20th, 2025. July 15th, 2026. And January 15th, 2027. So 2 exact dates the rest of this year, because they're going to retrograde and go direct. That's why they're doing that. 1 exact date in 2026 in July. The last one in January 2027. And then we won't have Uranus sextile Neptune again until 2137. So even longer than the last time we had it.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I mean, we probably won't need it because this is just like done deal, really. You know, the 10 of Pentacles, like bringing long-standing financial systems into, you know, like transforming them into something healthy. And that star card is like each of us as individuals. So a lot about sovereignty, each of us as individuals rising, like the Ace of Swords is the yes card. So your star is rising, the star of the individual. So we're not just going to be thinking of ourselves as a nation. We're going to be thinking of ourselves as individuals that are working for the common good. And yeah, this is really, really beautiful. And then such a lovely, like a lot of, you know, not so much this outward show of everything. It's going to be very much a lot like in the hippie movement time, where it was the back to the land energy, and the proof was in what you created yourself. So it was all, people weren't just taking the word of because somebody had a great, marketing campaign. It was like the proof was in the pudding. We're going to have a lot more of that coming as a result of this transit. And it's going to be more fun.
Yay!
But I'm guessing, 1968, I'm guessing there was a lot of fun that was had in that year long between 1968 and 69, right? I mean, Summer of Love, it feels, can we make it like not the summer of love, but like, and not just the century of like love, but the millennium of love. Like, let's go for that.
Oh my God.
And this
I
time,
love
right?
that. There's actually a lot. Sorry, Ashala, did you want to say something else?
No, that's good.
I'm noticing there's actually a lot of funky synchronicities between the astrology of 1968 and now. At that time, Jupiter was in Leo. We're going to have Jupiter go into Leo next summer. That's going to be fun, 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 fun. Jupiter in Leo is fun. So that's coming up. Saturn was in Aries. We have Saturn in Aries right now. And Chiron was in Aries. So that's actually a very rare amount of similar transits to all be happening at the same time. Sunny is in the chat. Sunny says, Elvis comeback special 1968. LOL. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell? There was a lot that happened that year.
Yes.
Oh my God. And then also I'm noticing here, ChatGPT says Apollo 8 mission, the first manned spacecraft to orbit the moon, supposedly. Okay. Right. We don't know. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't know, because there's been so many lies. So, we were shown a flight to the moon.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And the closeness of our intergalactic allies is another way to look at the star card, right? Because it's the star. So it's our star ancestors. But this does not feel like the bad guys, because every one of these cards is super positive. Every one of them. It's a very encouraging spread.
That is so exciting. Yay. And Uranus rules the stars, ETs, all that kind of stuff. Uranus is also our friends, Three of Cups, and groups of people,
Yeah,
celebration, getting together
very,
with groups of people.
very Aquarian, right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Should we take a look, Ashala, at what this aspect means for each of the sign groups? Would you like
Yes,
to
let's
do
do
that?
that. Definitely.
This is cool, you guys, and let us know in the chat what you think about this very special Uranus sextile Neptune aspect. And oh, I also wanted to say, Ashala, that Uranus and Neptune both have to do with our higher consciousness and
Mhm.
intuitive and psychic abilities. The outer planets all have to do with that spiritual element in different ways. Neptune is the spiritual world, psychic sensitivity. Uranus is our higher intelligence. It is claircognizance. It is connection to the ETs. So we can be having very spiritual phenomena this week, next week, actually the whole next 2 years with this aspect. Like our psychic abilities getting way stronger. The veils are very thin. ET experiences dreams, Neptune of ETs or star family Uranus. So pay
Mhm.
attention, guys, to your dreams, your
Mhm.
intuition. It's an amazing time for spiritual and psychic development as well.
Yeah. Well, interesting too. A lot of people are commenting about the hippie era. And when you said, it just sort of stopped. I remember I watched a documentary on this years ago and I never could find it. After I saw it once, it disappeared. It was something about like what happened in the 60s, like why did it end? And it was just following the activist movements, and that the heavy force that was used right near the end, like that stopped the protests, when they went in with like tear gas and some kind of bombing of something or other. I can't remember what it was, but something happened on one of those campuses in California where they literally, I don't know if someone was killed, but it was super, like super sketchy, super scary. And everybody was just like, oh my gosh, like it's almost as though they realized we have to take this underground. This isn't gonna, we're not gonna be able to, we're just like targets. And as we know, the cabal was in full swing at that point.
Mhm.
So it felt like the movement just kind of went, okay, we said what we had to say, we made our mark on this timestamp, and now we got to go underground and be quiet and let things percolate for another until the next until the
Mhm.
next transit happens, right? So
Yes.
it feels like that, yeah, this was, they had to stop. It was dangerous. It became really dangerous. Um,
Mhm.
and because those powers that were back then were definitely not going to let that continue.
Right.
So so what I noticed, because I know I have lots of friends that are older, former hippies or transitioned hippies or whatever you want to call it, transitioned into like, we used to say, well, now they're hippies with credit cards or whatever. But I felt like a lot of that warm-hearted joy for life stayed with a lot of them. And they
Mhm.
were always a little bit counterculture, bucking the system. And I think they raised their kids like that too. So, like, a lot of us are products of
Yeah.
that era, that we could think outside the box even, and like you said, some aspects of the spiritual revivalist movement in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, I think they did a good job, and we can pick up where they left off now.
Definitely. Very well said.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we start with our fire signs for this Uranus sextile Neptune aspect?
Mhm.
Our Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius.
Mhm. Felt almost like electric in the cards there. Woo!
Oh,
Oh, whoa. Okay. So, yeah, interesting. I heard leave no stone unturned. So, you know, kind of shit disturbing a little, because like that could be, you could be really worried about that devil card. But it's very well aspected with this Page of Pentacles and the positive Ace of Swords. So it's like necessary shit disturbing. Like, really, it's sort of like a little bit of a license to do what you do well, which is stir things up and don't leave a stone unturned. Like, it's okay to stir it up, fire signs. It's okay to stir things up, because actually there's a groundedness as well, where fire signs will stir things up and then they will sort of, when the dust settles, they'll get to work on something. So that's good. They're not just going out and causing havoc and not doing anything. This is, again, that proof is in the pudding. So they'll do something with the energy. They're not just stirring it up for fun.
Stirring it up for good use. That's
Yep.
amazing. Go fire signs. Okay, and we got our earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorns. Oh, and sorry, Shala, let me add that astrologically, let me bring up the chart for our fire signs here. Makes sense because they are fire signs. They are the, why isn't this?
The instigators, right? Yeah. But I don't very often get this sort of like, yeah, it's okay to instigate.
Yeah. Okay, sorry guys, for some reason my chart isn't coming up, but I can just say what I'm seeing, that for the fire signs, you guys have Neptune in your fire houses and Uranus is in your air houses. So yeah, this is about action and getting your voices out and inspiring the people around you. You know, your gifts as fire signs is you have the confidence, you have the leadership, you have the energy, right? You guys are usually the first ones to step forward and lead the charge. And we're going to need to be strong, not because anything bad is going to happen, but we need to keep moving the energy forward into more positive times and revolution of consciousness. So makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, earth signs.
Signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn.
Ooh, another ace.
Another ace.
Great. Wow. Okay, so interesting. This feels very love-oriented for earth signs. It feels a lot like letting relationships back into your life, opening your heart to like the deep healing power of relationship. So, you know, it's almost like it's and a little bit like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Like, if something comes your way, you know, like it's like it's a bit of a radical act, right? When you're really shut down, or say, you know, I don't believe in love, or I'm too old for that, or whatever. Like, it's a radical act to say, well, what have I got to lose? And so this is the version of radical for the earth signs, is like, go for it. You know, you'll, no matter what happens, you're going to have a deep emotional, meaningful experience. And overall, they're very well aspected. So again, it looks good.
Oh, I like that. And so cool that they've got Ace of Pentacles and King of Cups, because the earth signs have Neptune currently in water houses and Uranus in earth houses. And yeah, that makes sense with that. So it's changes, yes, in the collective and being a part of the consciousness shift and the shift into the age of Aquarius, but also it's bringing in innovation, confidence, positive energy towards work, income, abundance, and your intuitive and spiritual gifts and sensitivities as well. So the earth signs can be having a lot of spiritual phenomena with this in particular. Dreams, King of Cups sensitivities, visions, feelings, all the different psychic senses.
And with that Ace of Pentacles, there's often like a literal change of home place as well, like the entire different home. It might not be that you leave your home, but you might have a second home, like if you're having a new relationship starting or something like that. It just feels like there's an expansion in the material realm around home and real estate. So that's interesting.
Very interesting. Okay, our air signs. Sorry, air signs? Yeah,
Yep,
Gemini, Libra, and Aquarians.
that's me. Mhm. Adventure.
Mm.
Oh, adventure, but also the need to not overdo it energetically. Oh, so 2 3s. So the 3 energy is co-creative. It's very creative. It's actually the most creative energy. And it is like, so taking some of your creative work to a new level. So this is like trying new things. I used to call it the buffet sampler card. You try different things, creatively exploring and taking your creative, at least one or maybe more of your creative pursuits to a more serious level, like maybe even into some sort of small business. However, we have this burnout card in the middle. So you have to do it differently, air signs. You can't do it like just throw everything you got and burn the candle at both ends. The word is creative, meaning it's supposed to be fun and easy and light. Don't turn it into a chore, you know? More is not better. Just know when to say enough already. So yeah, for air signs, creativity is highly featured.
Wow, that is super cool. And they're having this aspect in their fire and air houses, which are very creative houses. I mean, all the houses can be creative in their own ways, but that makes sense. And, has to do with travel as well. Third house is an air house of Gemini. Ninth house is a fire house. So there can be travel going on, seeking new horizons, foreign people, foreign opportunities. A lot of the air signs may even be physically moving to another country or starting to spend time in another country as well. Totally new people from maybe a different culture, new perspectives as well coming forward. So interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we have our water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces for this Uranus sextile Neptune aspect.
Yes. One more.
I'm a water sign.
Yes.
Hey.
Ooh, okay. Water signs. Uh-huh. Okay, interesting. So it's funny because I heard like running up against a dam blocking the flow. And this is in the way it's frozen water, ice and snow, and then a blockage. So somehow this transit is going to highlight some place that you are blocked around letting your emotion flow freely, all that water flow freely. So it will probably be allowing you to see places where you prevent yourself from surrendering emotionally. However, there's a real, I want to say, new, innovative, imaginative way of looking at this. It's not going to feel restrictive anymore. It's going to feel like, oh, I know how to shift this. And then look what is the result of this is King of Pentacles. So also, I feel like tremendously influential. The water signs could do something extraordinary that is like a really big offering or gift, some kind of material investments they make, or businesses or projects that they're involved in. They could do very, very well financially. So
Wow.
when they get this Because it is sort of like a type of creative energy that's blocked. And I feel a little bit like this is kind of old hurts that have been held. I know that sometimes water signs can hold on to things for a long time and not even be aware that they're carrying that lodged in their being somewhere. So this is, I think, going to have the effect of showing where that block is, and then the tools to shift it, and then the result is something very, I want to say, it just feels like a lot of power and influence coming through for the water signs. Like you could maneuver yourselves with your finances and your business stuff to having a lot of influence. So
When used intentionally, I
yeah.
guess, like being honest with ourselves, water signs, and being really intentional about where we put our energy, it feels like.
Yeah. Well, even without being intentional, but of course, a lot of the people watching this are going to be like, yeah, I want to use this to help to do good. Because that King of Pentacles, he is actually one of the most, let's just say he has the most power of any of the major arcana cards.
Wow.
He's the final major arcana card. In a way, on one system, if you do it, it's either the King of Pentacles or the Ten of Pentacles. Either way, a lot of power. It's cumulative power gained over lifetimes. So it's like being in positions of power and authority. So if you have these blockages, it's almost like you're not going to get to that place without doing this. So in a way, if you get there, you've healed a lot, because you wouldn't be there, thankfully, and have that kind of influence. That's positive, actually, suggesting that you won't get to that place until you do this inner work. But then you will have quite a lot of influence over others and control of like the resources and
Yeah. Oh my
yeah,
God. I like the sounds of that. Even though there's a Five of Pentacles, I like the sounds of that, because whatever that is that's going to come up, it sounds like it's going to make us stronger and wiser, and bring whatever needs to come up to move forward. So
and
that's
that you'll
cool.
have the tools, right? Because remember at the beginning when we started off looking at this, we saw the Fool, and I said he's got those tools in his bag, but he doesn't know that they're there or how to use them yet. Well, now for you water signs, they're out on the table. Like you have access to the tools. And
Right.
so you will do this. It will be a lot easier than you imagine, because the tools are all available to you now. And then you're going to be suddenly find yourself in in charge of things.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Ashala. And crazy, because the water signs are having Uranus and Neptune in earth houses and water houses as well.
Yeah.
And we've got the pentacles there. So kind of doing an up leveling, or new things coming forward with income, with work, with responsibility, with where we put our time. So that's cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we're almost at the end of our show, you guys. And I want to bring up, before we finish up, why can't I share my screen here? Something funky is going on. Okay, there we go. Now I can share. Over on the Scorpling shop, Sunny and I have a new Starseed Crystal Collection, Sacred Stones of Interstellar Light. Very special collection. We're very excited to be offering out to you guys. These are literally space gems that we have available. So Moldavite, Libyan desert glass, Tektite, Columbianite, and also some earthborn gems like amethyst scepters and laser quartz. So we're going to, Sunny and I, go really in depth into this new collection, and starseed crystals benefit space gems that are benefited to our community, like-minded community. We're going to go in depth in tomorrow's Beyond Crystal show. So stay tuned for that. And you can go over to the Scorpling shop if you'd like to check out the new collection. We have limited quantities because they are rarer pieces. So just keep that in mind. You can use code Beyond Mystic to get 10% off. Ashala, have you ever worked with Moldavite or Tektite or any of those guys before?
Yeah, years ago, I had 3 little pieces of Moldavite, and it's it's funny because I don't know, a lot of my crystals over the years have moved on to other places, and I virtually have very few that I have had for a long, long time. But those are the ones I miss. I think about those little moldavite tektite stones so often. I'm like, they were amazing. I don't even know where they ended up. I offered them or gave them as a gift or something, but they just feel so otherworldly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you're saying that because Sunny and I have, oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say, how have you felt with them?
Oh my God. So much I can say. Well, it's funny you say that because I've had them actually disappear multiple times, in particular Moldavite. Sunny and I have talked about that quite a bit because they are such high frequency stones. They can literally go into another dimension, come back. I've had them come back like weeks or months later in the exact same spot. It's absolutely wild. I think Sunny has a crazy story. Jupiter, she says Jupiter trine. Sunny's in the chat. Sunny, let me know if I'm not remembering this correctly, but I think if I'm remembering correctly, Sunny lost the Moldavite pendant or something like that, and it literally showed up on her street as she was walking down her street one day on the ground. So Sunny, I think that was you. If that wasn't you, let me know.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
these stones, like the tektites, are amazing tools. They're such a high frequency for spiritual development, rapid transformation,
Mhm.
protection. They can also make us feel more comfortable being here because a lot of us are star seeds, or we've had a lot of lifetimes on other planets. So it's really, really cool to work with them. And I see somebody in the chat says, Future Cube, how much for the cool package, Meg? So yeah, we do sell them individually, and we also have bundles available. So if you go to the Scorpling Shop Starseed Collection page, we've got a Sirius Starseed bundle where you get an amethyst scepter, tektite, and laser quartz. Very cool. And an Orion Starseed bundle where you get amethyst scepter, laser quartz, and columbianite. So there are bundles, those are very powerful combinations. Or if you want to get used to the energy of them individually, we have the 4 different celestial gemstones and earthborn crystals. You never know, Ashala, yours might just pop up one day.
They might. They really might. You got me thinking now. I feel like I'm going to go looking for them and see. Because it's been a few years. I haven't seen them. And I had 3. And I remember like they were all the same size. They were just so fascinating. Like you could just see that they came in together from space and were dropped somewhere,
That's so cool. Yeah, and now's actually a really good time to work with them with Uranus, sextile Neptune.
Mm,
So,
great.
so cool. John Murphy says, enjoyed Sunny's groovy band and singing Crystal Delight. Yeah, Sunny last weekend, she's Italian, and her brothers performed at an Italian festival, and Sunny sang a whole set in Italian, Sicilian folk songs. So yeah, I posted that online. Awesome, awesome job. Sunny in the chat says, yes, that was me. I lost it at your house. And 2 weeks later, I was walking down a part of my street I didn't usually go down. I looked at the ground and the pendant was there. Absolutely freaking nuts. So trippy. Oh my God. So yeah, also you guys go check out, if you haven't seen it already, Crystal's new Beyond Karma show that she just did, first inaugural episode today. And that's going to be a new weekly show, right, Ashala?
That's a new weekly show. So it's a little before us on Tuesday, like a couple hours before us on Tuesday. Yeah. And it's very interesting. She's talking about karma, and she's talking about, our relationships that are related to our karmic loops or patterns that we have with individuals, or things that we're working on that we came here to work through, and how we can, sort of activate positive karma and start some beneficial karmic loops moving forward. So I think it's a great conversation.
Amazing. I think it's such an important topic as well. So excited for Crystal. And you guys know you can go find Ashala's readings over at the consultation page at the link below, and my astrology readings as well. And anything else we want to say, Ashala, before we finish up? I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. I think we did. And, we just went over this date that Penny Kelly and I were talking about, because I did that. If you go back and listen to the last Intuition Friday, which is now a couple of weeks ago, we are having one this week, by the way, folks.
Nice.
But yeah, we had where all these different timeline predictions that had come through a reading that I did back in 2021. And one of the only dates that came, I think it was the only actual date that came through, was August 25th, 2025. And I'm just curious, Meg, was there anything really specific on that? Is yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday we had, oh, sorry, Ashal, there's a little bit of a lag. What did you say there?
Was there anything specific that happened yesterday astrologically?
Well, we did have exact Venus trine Saturn and Venus enter Leo. Nothing too crazy, though,
Okay.
specifically. So maybe
Okay.
there was something more in the, I don't know what's been going on with the solar flares, or maybe there was something else going
Yeah,
on.
I'm not
Interesting.
sure. But anyway, I know I was feeling something, but I can't really put my finger on it yet. So I'm sure it will be revealed, and maybe Penny and I will look at that on Friday.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool to think about that.
Mhm.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next Tuesday for another episode. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and have an absolutely magical rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.